Thank you guys for spending your Tuesday afternoon with me, coming to class. Even if you are experienced and seasoned trader, as Matt so kindly put the nod in for me. But I think even for traders that are really settled in their process and consistent, it's just good to have psychology conversations of all around trading in and around our lives all the time, because it just makes us stronger traders. I know that has been my experience, and that every time I have been a part of a psychology conversation, I have felt better, I have traded better, I have approached the markets better, I have managed my strategy better, because it just sort of stabilizes us. Because it's a real thing that when money starts flying around, the emotions get kind of wrapped up in it, and it gives us all the kind of feels. So I'm here to change the topic up every week and shift it up and see how we can adjust if necessary. I'm gonna see if Ace is around, because he inspired me for this lab. We'll see if he's I think he's UK, right? I think he's not a US friend, so he might be asleep. That's okay. But he'll watch the recording. So you guys, if you have been a trader for, more than a minute, you likely have had a winning streak. And sometimes a winning streak is an incredible 2 days, and sometimes it's 2 months, and sometimes it's more. I think that there's a lot of flexibility with growing into winning streaks, because early on it's very exciting to get 2 winning trades in a row, and then that builds with time, and as your strategy grows and your stability grows and your understanding of the markets and your ability to manage your risk, as all of that grows, you'll start to experience more and more of them. What is up? Okay, IKEA, we're gonna break down. A streak is more than 2 items in a row. So today we're going to talk about winning streaks, which can be just 2 winning trades in a row or 2 winning months in a row, and anywhere in between and all around. But we are very friendly here. All are welcome, and we appreciate questions and engagement and jeering in good fun. And I am available for that. Just let me know what your flavor is of the day. That's right. There you go. 3 wins. See, I even gave you credit for 2 because I am generous. And I think that we can be winning every which direction. So today I want to talk about how to manage the best problem that we can encounter as a trader. And I don't know, problem is an interesting word to put there. The best situation that we can deal with as traders is when just the money just keeps coming and the wins keep coming, and we're reading the market really well, and it's being very consistent and successful. That's when you want to, it's one of the key points as a trader where you want to really kind of dial it in and do your best work, because you don't want to, ideally, we don't want to get into a situation where you're giving it back. You want to hold steady, but there's some different aspects to that, right? No one is perfect all of the time. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I appreciate you guys being here with me. So we're going to kind of break it down into separate phases so that we can say exactly what we're talking about, and then how to do our best to keep the momentum going, but be real with it, the whole situation all around it. So what is the winning streak, how the mindset that get you to that situation, and how to be aware of what's going on, that there are some hidden risks, although we won't, perseverate on that too much, because we don't want to worry about that kind of thing too much, but we just want to eyes wide open on all aspects of trading. I think to say I don't want to think about my losses and I don't want to think about the red days, kind of just be focused on the positive. I think it's good to prioritize positive things in our life and keep our mindset and our vibe and our energy positive, encouraging, anticipating the best outcomes that we can for ourselves. But I do think that it's important to be real and not totally ignore potential risk factors that could be going on, even in a really positive environment, kind of an always being cognizant type of situation. So there are some hidden risks within a winning streak that are worth mentioning and kind of knowing that are a part of this game, because you'll be more steady throughout the longevity of your trading career if you think about all aspects of different phases that you could be in trading. And then we'll get into kind of what we can do to lock in best and some strategies and sustaining the momentum. So that's where we're going to go with today. But first, let's do the fun things, right? Let's celebrate the fact that if winning streak is your situation, then excellent. Congratulations. I'm very happy for you. You have earned it. I don't think that a lot of traders will say, well, I got lucky. It's take the compliment, take the compliment that your trading journal is telling you, you are freaking on point and you are trading really well right now. Kudos, congratulations. You earned that. You can't. So there is an element of luck where you're just having dumb luck. Maybe you're following somebody, you taking signals, you're just trying to copy somebody. There's some luck to that. But when you've pushed past that when you push past that phase where you're just trying to copy and figure out which end is up with trading, and you're actually deciding on, have the strategy of, and understand the strong trade setups, and you're capitalizing on them, your winning streak is not luck. That is skill and experience and discipline and preparation and execution. All of it comes together to build a trader who is worthy of holding, building, growing your winning streaks, leveraging up. So a winning streak doesn't necessarily mean only $500 a week, but it could be $500 a trade a year down the line or what have you. It's the energy that you want to build into, and recognizing that it's beyond luck after you've started really developing a strategy is important, because you want to give yourself credit where credit is due, and you want to recognize what you have learned, and that people can look to you and ask you questions, and you can feel like a leader in certain situations, and you can feel strong about your trades and your process. And so we definitely don't want to put fear around a winning streak today. We want to celebrate a winning streak and we want to honor it. But a way that we can honor a winning streak is protecting it, is by having awareness on what it looks like, how you got there, and how you can sustain it and protect the energy that you have put in, the effort you've put in, and what you are building from this point. So, okay, so if you are in a winning streak, how'd you get there? What's that look like? What's the best way to think about it and conceptualize your situation as a trader? So what I would like to, reinforce when you think about it is it's not just about the numbers and the day-to-day. It's kind of a big picture that it's a signal that your process is aligned with the current market conditions, and you are having steak for dinner, not cereal and celery, or what have you. But that your system is strong and it is working with the market, and you are staying present and it is working. You are sharp. Your entries are clean. You are dialed in to what it means to get into a trade and how you're going to manage it, how you're going to choose to move past that. And so your confidence is earned. That experience, that way that you have shown up, the way that you have created the most robust system that you can. The winning streak is your reward, and it's appropriate because you showed up for the work. It's like your boss gives you a raise because you've been working your butt off and you have done high quality work, and they are appreciative. It's a different way when you're trading because, right, you are your own boss, but the P&L follows. We talk a lot in other labs about how P&L is a lagging indicator, and you have to prioritize, discipline and strength and balance and all these other things. Well, this is where we're talking about today, is the P&L is arriving because of all that back end work, because of all the things that you focus on and creating your most robust trading strategy. It's a big deal. Now, I do like this whole idea of like, there is a nuance to that of like, it's personal, right? RQ could be on a winning streak and I could be on a losing streak, and we could both be pretty strong traders. We're just at a different place with our season right now. And the market has no idea what you're doing. She's just doing her thing, and it's all of our jobs to just try and do our best with what we have in front of us and lean into our system, lean into our team, our approach, our understanding. And so I want to encourage you guys to know that while you are on a winning streak, potentially, every new trade needs to start back at zero. I really, really love the energy of one good trade followed by one good trade. Like, just compartmentalize, like have a strong process and a journey and an understanding of where you're going as a trader, but lock it down. Need confidence to hang on longer? Absolutely. I'm going to talk about that, Gil, because confidence is a big part of this, but you have to be careful with confidence because there's a sweet spot with it where you have to have confidence in order to put risk on and to trade through a winning streak and to slowly start to leverage up when your system is really effective. But overconfidence is a tricky situation as well. So confidence is such an interesting conversation in terms of trading. So we're going to tap into that a little bit today. But I do think a big part of a winning streak is respect, and respecting yourself, but also respecting the market and your trading system, because those have got to be locked in, dialed in, and focused. So that way you can capitalize the best from the market, because you're so specific on not just throwing caution to the wind, but really honoring the work that we are doing, the big picture, the risk that you're putting on. That's a lot of dollar signs getting thrown around. And so having respect for this game and for each trade individually is important as you progress through a winning streak or any part of trading. I love the idea of earned confidence, because you trust your reads because they're working. Your confidence is built upon successful trades. Like, I waited, I was patient, I saw XYZ. Today I had 2 trades during power hour and the first one was stopped out. But I was super present with the market. I said, I want my stop to be here because if it's pushing back against me, it could go up and take out the high. What would that look like? It would look like a double bottom. It would look like the bulls are holding. The bears can't break down. In that situation, the trade isn't the short, it's the long. So staying present, trusting your read, keeping your leverage small so that you don't get tilty, you don't get in your amygdala and your fight or flight response. Instead, you can go with what is part of your strategy. And then also process awareness is so important on a winning streak to make that a part of your entire approach, because the better we can understand why we're winning, the longer you can sustain it. Because if you recognize what part of your trading process is really strong right now and lean into that, embrace it, make sure you're showing up as that trader every day, that's going to help you sustain too. Like recognizing that when I am patient, I let the first 15-minute candle close of New York session, if that's your strategy. And then I wait and I need to see this break on this time frame. When you're specific like that and you understand what you have been doing has been working and what that looks like, then you can repeat that. And so being super aware of your process that gets you to a winning streak will really help reinforce what to continue to do to build upon that. So we're going to get back into both of these in just a little bit more here. But on the flip side of that, like what does it look like when we're not doing these things that are ideal? Because winning streaks are great, but it's easy to become complacent. Complacent is a word that is important with this conversation because you can start to slip. And usually that's how it happens, right? You're not on a winning streak for days or weeks, and then it's just everything all goes to hell in a handbag. Usually you start to slip. You start to let little things slide, and you start to have subtle adjustments in what you're doing. You downplay a psychological factor, something that is normally a part of your strong system. You'll let one or two things slide. And then that can sort of open the door of like, rules schmools, like I'm feeling some kind of way. I want to just put some contracts on. And that is such a slippery slope. So I would definitely think about these hidden dangers of this hot streak, where one of these could be your inclination to have this trouble. And so let's talk about each of them for a moment. Overconfidence. So that's the thing. You literally will not make it as a day trader without confidence, because you have to put risk on. You have to be able to say, I have studied, I see this trade, it might fail, but I got a risk in order to reward. And so I'm going to execute per my system with this size of leverage. I'm going to manage it this way. There's a confidence behind that, because not everyone can put that money on the line. But there's a trick with not letting it slide into overconfidence, because if you are on a winning streak, that's where this is most dangerous. We don't get overconfident when we're in a losing streak or when we're battling through some ups and downs. But the overconfidence sneaks in kind of insidiously when you are on a winning streak, because you can start to feel invincible, and you can be like, anything I touch turns to gold. Every trade that I enter, I'm just on point. Like me and the market are in sync. Like she's your dance partner and it's just going beautifully. I love that for you, but you are not actually invincible, and the market is in charge, and there could be extenuating factors at any point. And so kind of having that constant like awareness of I have to be confident in order to trade my system, but I need to make sure I'm trading my system. It's dangerous to trade outside your setup criteria because you're just really feeling the market right now. Oh, you got to hang around, my wise friend, because I talk a lot about Miss Market, how she's a lady, and we dance with her, and don't step on her toes, because she will take you out. I like that analogy. It works for me. It's entertaining. I can see it clearly in my mind that we're trying to feel the rhythm of the market and go with it instead of fight it all the time. Then you look like a bunch of idiots on the dance floor because you don't even know what the other person is doing, and somebody's going to fall, and it's not going to be the market that falls. Just FYI. So, side note. Anyways, complacency is another significant risk. I know, right, Jaja? Dang it. I'm a very good dancer. Just do what I say. She's going to check you every time. So what does it look like to be complacent as a trader? So if you are on a winning streak, you feel like you're really understanding the way the market is moving. You are in sync. You just have to throw a long position at the market and then the profits just flow in. That might actually be a working strategy this week, but I would encourage you not to get comfortable with that, because skipping your pre-market routine, your life routine, because things are going so well that you can cut corners, is a dangerous slide to get into. Because then if you are used to, if you've gone on this winning streak by being really cognizant of what you are doing to set yourself up for success, that is a recipe for success, because you are now winning. So if you have been getting up, 45 minutes before the market opens, washing your face, doing a little bit of stretching, having maybe a couple moments of deep breathing, and then being really careful about setting up your levels, recognizing what you would want to see to get in a trade, writing out your trade plan. Like that's a boss approach to a trade session. You are settling down your nervous system. You are having a strategic plan, and you are considering what it would look like to be engaged in trade. Anything version of that, there's gray area on all ends of that, of what you find to be the most grounding, whether it's exercise or meditation or just deep breathing or just a little bit of peace and quiet. Maybe it's some, Metallica in your ear. Whatever makes you feel steady do it. But if you've been doing it and that got you to the winning streak, I would encourage you not to be complacent with that, because if it got you to win, that's not the time to cut it. That's the time to lean in and embrace it. So that's kind of the definition around a complacency type of element of you're really winning all the time. So I can just start just showing up, in my pajamas with, not ready, and still expect the same results. Now, we talked about overconfidence. Ego is the same side of that same coin, but allowing ego to influence your leverage size is tricky, because leverage size is important based on your trade plan, your instrument that you trade, the time frame that you trade, the account size you have as a prop trader potentially. You want to size appropriately based on a strategy and a trade plan, not based on emotion or energy or ego. And I do think that we've had an episode about how to leverage and how to leverage up, because there is an element of when you want a winning streak, that is when you want to press yourself. There is a strong time to trade a little bit bigger when you are in sync with the market, when your dance is beautiful and you see her pullbacks and you know how to get in and how to adjust your stops so you're not taking undue risk. There is a time to leverage up when you are winning. I love that for us. But I would warn you not to go fast with it and not to throw some ego leverage on there, which is like, I've been trading 5 MESs and I'm killing it, so I'm going to start trading 5 minis. I would not encourage that. I would maybe encourage you, to go from 5 to 8, or from 5 minis to 10 minis and then scale, or to a full mini. Not, you guys know what I'm saying, 5 micros to 10 micros. I think I misspoke. But I would say when you leverage up, when you're in a winning streak, have that be strategic. Have that be a part of your strategic plan for killing it as a trader, but doing it intelligently. And ego leverage is where you go all in and you risk a lot because you really are trading very strongly. To each their own, but that is not, psychologically super safe, because that could be the one off where it just doesn't work. And how much would that be a hit? You know what I'm saying? So there's a method to the madness with leveraging. So I'm going to leave that there in terms of leverage. There's another psychology episode if you want to talk more about that, almost exclusively about how to leverage up really intentionally with your system. So rule erosion, though, is another thing that I have to say is a hidden danger of a winning streak, because you can start to flex. And this is a part of the overconfidence slide that we can do. You can start bending rules, and it doesn't have to be any sort of really obvious way. Usually these are subtle shifts, like we said. So you break one small rule, and such as I'm just going to not get up early or do my pre-market, or I'm going to move my stop just this one time. I know, Justin, I am telling you, and I've said this before, of these psychology labs, Waji knows, she and I talk every single day. I do them to tell myself to behave. When I'm putting these together on the weekend, I'm like, damn, I need to make sure I'm doing what I say, because I'm such a better trader when I do all of this. And rule erosion is something that's super easy for all of us, whether you're on a winning streak or not a winning streak, what have you. Be cognizant of it, because it's a risk. It's like when you start to let in a little bit of gray into your system that you're usually really strong with, it's easy to let in more and more gray. And then all of a sudden your rules are out the window. And that's when you can really get into trouble. And you can do a full tilt when you've allowed just one. So say you're in a normal trade, right? And the rule erosion is you just move your stop down slightly, because you can give it a little more room. You're not ready to take the stop out. You're frustrated about an argument you had last night. You didn't sleep really well. Today you're going to win because you're going to feel better about trading, and everything in life is going to be great. And so you move that one stop, and then it's taken out. Well, then all of a sudden your loss is double what it should have been had you honored your initial stop placement. Then you're frustrated. You're like, well, nope, today is a winning day. This is not right. Normally I would stop and take a walk after a losing trade, but I'm irritated and I am on a winning streak. And so I don't do this losing business. And so then you might want to go back in and revenge trade. And so that one little rule break can lead to another little rule break. And then the tilt has begun. You are starting to do fight or flight. You can slide so fast. And so if you are a trader who thrives on rules and entry and exit criteria and trading your strategy because you have tested it, back tested, forward tested it, you understand it in and out, and it works for you, I would encourage you, especially on a winning streak, that strategy got you to this winning streak. So stick with the rules best you can. 400 away from passing through, now 7K. I mean, these numbers move really fast, Mr. Positive. It's something that is really, it's it can change so fast. You can go from a solid, steady win streak where you're making, 400 a day, 600 a day, 300 a day, 700 a day. You're just climbing and building your accounts. And then all of a sudden you're red 200, and then you're red 400, and then you're red 1,000. You can start to tilt and, whew, So speaking of, like, when does it breed recklessness? That's literally the lead in to like that other screen is like, these are the little things that we have to really be careful of because the slide is slippery. Well, if you get on that slide and you're just going down this like water slide without a parachute that you didn't even really want to get on, like, this is where you need to be super, like, you need to have some alerts firing off in your mind that you're in a situation where this is not safe. Maybe reach out to a friend or a mentor or anyone, or really get out of your office, because ego and recklessness are killers. Like, it can be disguised as confidence. So I love this point too, that ego can be disguised as confidence for a long time. Like, most of us won't catch it right away. When you are in a winning streak and you're feeling really good and positive about what you're doing, you feel good. Like, one little loss doesn't have to mean any kind of thing. And it doesn't. You can still maintain your winning streak with a small loss ticked in there. And you don't even know that you're starting to lean towards ego versus confidence. It can really be that sneaky. But if it starts to like fade into it and you're starting to pull from your discipline and you're starting to lean into, I just win, win, win. You know what I mean? Like, if that is where you're heading, exactly. Euphoria is so dangerous, because then you want to keep that riding, right? You're having a great time. You're at this party. Everyone's like, the vibe is great. Everything is going well. You want to just keep going. But the scales can tip and you can miss that, and you can start oversizing. You can ignore your stop. You can trade without a stop, whereas normally your system calls for you to have a stop loss in place to protect yourself. And then you can start to trade more impulsively. You can start feeling like you're in the zone and you can't be held back. And then you can start putting on more and more and more risk. And you can hide it as, I'm just doing great. Like, this is what traders do. Like, I'm trading great, so I should be trading bigger. You can get an energy behind that, like riding the momentum, right? Of like pushing yourself to the next levels up. But you want to like, it's like almost like you're really going to the top of a roller coaster. And if you're not ready for a little bit of downturn, it can be very startling. And so just this euphoria, as Tina Marie, on point with that word. That's the energy of like, you are pushing and you're doing really great, but your rules are starting to slide. Like, that puts you at a heightened state of like, in that bigger size. That is where the big blowups happen, because all of a sudden you're trading higher size with less awareness and less focus on strategy. That is a recipe for a truly dangerous situation for all that you have been building. And so that's why we have to have this awareness on the risk of how easy it is to get into this situation if you are really doing solid on your system. So I want us to talk for a moment in this part of the presentation about the dangers of this point. And we won't stay here for much longer, but if you are building and you're starting to let your rules lax because you're feeling so great about everything, remember this part of this of like, am I trading my plan or am I trading my P&L? Am I trading my momentum? Am I trading to be a killer winner? And if you answer that honestly, that should help you have a little bit more awareness on what you're doing, the situation you're in, and the potentials for leaning too heavily into that momentum versus pulling back maybe a little bit and remembering your strategy. Okay. All right. So how do we not, right? So so we know the risk, and everyone kind of probably already knew that, but I just want to like paint the picture for you of how easy it is to slip into a situation where you just are going to win. And that is the end. And it's not really about what you did to get there and what you want to do to continue to push it in the right direction. I love this statement. Your process is the streak, for better or for worse, right? And so today we're talking about winning streaks, but your winning streak is because your process is winning, right? It's not about the money. It's about who you are when you show up to your chart and what you are doing to trade your system. So the winning streak did not happen despite your rules. It happened because of them. Your process that got this P&L, this account building, that is your edge. And so you want to guard your process like it's the most valuable asset, not the dollar signs, not your account growth, not the thresholds that you're working towards. You want to guard your process with everything that you have, because that is what is leading you to success and will lead you through success to the next levels. Because if it's solid now, that's something you can leverage, because a solid process, you can put more money behind it because your entries are on point. Your risk is on point. You are not taking too much risk. You are not finding that you're sliding and breaking your rules. Because if you're in a place, whatever's going on personally, I have been there and I have let my personal factors play into how I manage my trade. And if I am in that place where my emotional factors are making more of the choice in how I manage my trade versus my strategy, then I have no business leveraging up or even expecting to like copy to more accounts or what have you. Like, that needs to be nailed in. But if your process is solid and it is leading to a winning streak, like, get it. You know what I mean? Like, continue on, do that. all the days. So let's talk about that then. That needs to be the priority, right? Everyone still with me? You hear me? You agree? Does it make sense? So if we all agree, which I'm pretending you all are typing in the chat so you're with me, that the non-negotiable process anchor. So how do we lock into that then? How do we decide, and this is who we are, these habits that got me here, those are the habits that I need to continue? Yeah. Okay, so don't drop them because it feels easy. Don't say I can start to slide because I have arrived, because I am the winning trader, I am doing great, and so I'm going to continue doing great. Nope. Like, don't start sliding into that. Double down on your process because they are handling it for you. They are winning, right? They are leaning. They brought you to this process, this profits. Carry on. So everyone is slightly different, and I encourage you to make this your own. Whatever you do for your pre-market prep, your setup, your position sizing, your post-session review, all of this needs to work for who you are, how you see the market, what makes you your strongest self. Because we're all performance athletes, but maybe you're more of a hurdler and maybe someone else is more of a swimmer. Like, we get to have our own little variations on what sort of athletes we are, what instrument you like to trade, what time frame you like to trade, what account size you like to trade, right? Some of us are set on 50K. Some of us are set on 300K accounts because you have more wiggle room, different sizing, like to each their own within this. But I would encourage you to make each of these 4 pieces your own and then like do it. You know what I mean? So yeah, thank you for sharing a rule, Fatima. That's great. So pre-market prep, right? What do you do? What makes you feel strongest? Do you review your key levels? You review the economic events for the day on Forex calendar and whatever news might be coming out on the outlets that you watch. Your personal trade plan. Do you write out what you're looking for, or do you write it on a sticky note? Do you write it on a Google Doc? Do you write it on a journal that you just keep building into that notebook? But whatever you have found has had your most consistent season. If you've been a trader more than a couple months, whatever you have done that has made you feel good. We all know, tell me if you don't know, but I think most of us here know the feeling of freaking killing it on a day, right? You show up to your office, you are calm, you are peaceful, you're doing some sort of an exercise to steady your nervous system, such as even just some deep breaths. You're opening your charts in the order that you like to do it. You're drawing your levels. You're thinking about what your levels should be and why, and what they would mean if they held or if they fell. And then you're setting up, what am I long bias? Am I short bias based on my data? And if I am long bias, how can I get into a long? What would that look like? Where am I interested in gaining my position at? So whatever you do, that when you do that and then you execute on that plan during the day and you feel amazing, that's your system. That is a system you need to delineate, understand, lean into, and do every day, because this is a high performance sport and you are a business person showing up as a trader. So that should be established, who you are, how you show up as every day before your trading session. Now that's kind of crossing over into setup criteria, but so when you see your trade, what does that look like for you? What is your strategy? What does your playbook say of on a trending day when we are trending bullish, all of the timeframes are in alignment that the market is marching up. There's positive news behind it. There's no negative news behind it today. How do I join the bulls? How do I capitalize on a long position today, this session? It's about to open. I'm getting ready. So have defined criteria of, I like to see an engulfing and then a pullback. And then when I see a small body with high volume or what have you, then I get in the direction that the momentum is moving towards. But having that kind of organized in your brain and written down in a trading journal or strategy book or playbook, whatever you like to call it, then you want to trade your best criteria and have a list or an understanding of what it looks like and how you want to get in. And so if a trade, say you like to see 5 things to get in for a long position on a trending day, and you only get 2 of them, you don't execute on that, right? You start to create a stronger, robust entry and exit criteria of like, I want to see XYZ. And that is how I have my most successful trades. Because if I'm trading on 2 out of 5 triggers, I get the results that 2 out of 5 would get. But if I'm trading on 4 or 5 out of 5 triggers and it looks really good, I'm going to get the results of that 80 to 90% win rate on that outcome. And so having that delineated before, and then making sure that just remains the priority always, whether you're on a winning streak or you're in a downturn or what have you, like that should be a part of the way you approach being a trader always. Okay. So also position sizing, right? I feel like that's a conversation in a lot of trading because that's something that we all can monkey with. Like we have a lot of potential, if it's your own count, based on the size, you might just have limits, but then also with a prop account, you're also going to have limits. You don't have unlimited, but honestly, there's a lot of flexibility. Like they give the traders a lot of flexibility to do to trade your system and what you see. And so I would just, like I said earlier, we all have different tendencies with what we like in terms of a 50K count or a 300K count or anywhere in between there. And ways that we like to trade that we're used to, that is within the parameters of our account, that we can take the risk, most meaningfully and not blow our account, live to trade another day, right? So establish your size that fits your trading system and your account size and the time that you trade. And then do that, right? A winning streak is not a green light to double your contracts. It could be a green light to size up, but not haphazardly, not without logical understanding and written into your trade plan of like, I should leverage up on this trade because it is a sick trade with a great win rate and I see it really well. And so when I get that, I get to take my max size. Whereas another trade that I don't love, I take a little less. Like, for example, in Power Hour today, I tried for the short when I saw multiple signs that it could be rejecting. It fit with, potential pullback from a very key level. It was under moving average and my +1 band, but it wasn't in alignment with the bigger time frame. And I was a little bit uncomfortable because the better trades the entire session were longs on the pullback. So I went in with half size. And then when I was stopped out, I was like, no, that I'm super glad I didn't add my other half the size, because that was like, maybe a 3 out of 5 triggers to get in. And the timeline at the end of the day, sometimes those counter trend trades can fit at the end of the day. Well, there was more bias for the longs. And so when it gave me that double bottom and it broke structure and took me out at my stop, it was like, okay, this is the better trade of the day. So then I had a trade where I had 4 out of 5 confidence. And so I went long and that trade won. And so this is what I'm saying of like, you don't have to always just trade 1 mini, always. You can trade 4 micros and then you can scale up to 10 micros if it's a really good trade kind of deal. That's what I want to say of like, your process can have balance like that. And when you leverage up, it's for a strategic reason, not because you're on a winning streak and you're just feeling it. Now, the same thing of, process anchor is, a lot of people have really strong post-session reviews. Amaro had a great point earlier about how he is journaling and how that really helps steady him, I believe he said. And so journaling every day, on the good days, on the bad days, on what you learned, on maybe you did take a great trade and you wish you had traded heavier size because you did so well, or you wish you had scaled in a different way or managed your stop in a different way. There's lessons from every day. So having a system for at least understanding the lessons of the day, and writing it down is powerful. It makes it more real. So if you think about it and you write it just on the edge of something in your journal or on a document or something, it cements it more so for you to review your day and have it help you know on the great winning streaks how you can continue to replicate it. You're basically doing critical thinking on having the strongest approach to being a business-minded professional that you can have. And so, like I said, that you do what you do that feeds into that, but know that this can be like a really strong choice to make sure you are continuing your momentum. So rule adherence, right? The line between a streak and a blow up. A winning streak versus so what would that look like? So run rule at a time warning. So this is where I just want you guys to think about the rule erosion is almost never dramatic. It's like not like you follow all of your rules in your perfect strategic planner and then all of a sudden you have no F's left to give and you just like put on 10 contracts and let the cards fall where they may. That is not you being a trader. That's you having a moment for whatever reason, whatever fed into that situation for you. That is a gamble. And that's different. But for most traders, when you break a winning streak, it's a 1 rule at a time slide. So it starts small. You skip your stop on 1 trade just this once. You add a contract without really any justification or plans. You just sort of accidentally click the button. You just kind of went with it for a second there. And then what about like you normally don't trade, the London session, but you happen to have insomnia and you can't sleep and you're irritated and you're wide awake. So why not look at the charts? And then you're like, oh, look at that. But you don't actually have skill or an understanding of the way the market moves then. So it's a little bit out of your element, but you trade outside your hours because it makes sense, but it's not something you're comfortable with. So there's added risk, like when you switch times or you switch instruments, there's an added risk because you just don't know the flow there quite as well. So that is maybe a rule break that is not a part of your system. It says there, like your system becomes unrecognizable. Unrecognizable is a big word, but more so it starts to become less recognizable because all of a sudden your strategy that maybe when you're dialed in, it's very specific. It's delineated. It's written out somewhere. You know exactly how and why to get in and how to manage it. But then you start giving in to these little rule breaks left, right, and center. And it looks like you're just, kind of a I do what I want trader. And so that is where you go from systematic to like, let's see how it goes. And so that the slide there is something that I want you to think about, because if you ever catch yourself, say you're trading tomorrow, I want my voice to be in your ear, so I hope you don't hate my voice. But I want you to think about what the experience would be of just once moving your stop or just once doubling your leverage without a cognizant plan, and knowing that, oh wait, Coach Becky said, this is not exactly my process. Why did I do that? How can I manage it? What should I think about this? Am I emotional? Am I just feeling some kind of way? And it doesn't, one little slip. I want you to know that we're all humans, and meh, I've been there a million times. But my caution is to know that it could lead to more danger. And so to have that be a trigger when you are trading moving forward, that we had this conversation that just know, if you do a little thing and it's not your system, have it in your mind that this could be opening the doors to more trouble, and you don't want a full tilt day, right? Everything we talk about in psychology is almost all directed at preventing the tilt, because you can learn technical analysis and strategy till you're blue in the face and have a strong system and really be building an account long term. But a tilt day will wreck your accounts. It will set you back so much time and money and heartache. And so the goal of locking down your trading psychology has got to be preventing those big tilts, right? And so recognizing that if you get a little break in your chain of stability and strategy trading, maybe fix that chain break before you really delve back into full on feeling great about everything, because then you can hold steady longer, basically, by not letting this slide happen. So this is another factor that I want to spend a minute on. And that is that when you're on a winning streak, there's going to be a red day at some point, which is funny because I have been saying that about the stock market. I'm oh, look at all these bullish days. Where's the red day? Gil, you are allowed to trade whatever the heck session you want, but study it, put some energy there. If you're just haphazardly trading a session you've never traded before, that could be something that maybe you trade in sim or on an eval or with one micro because you're trying it out, but maybe don't do your full size on a session you're not in. That could be a rule break for you type of situation. This is a great question. I mean, you're more than welcome to trade all the days, all the times. But make sure that it's intentional. Okay. Well, you do. So side note on the prop side of things, you do. If you are a day trader, all of your positions have to be closed at end of day for New York session, because they have to basically tally the numbers and lock it in and know where your account stands. That way it can progress with your consistency numbers and when you qualify for payout and all of that. So you do have to close your trades by the end of New York session, but after that, you can re-enter a trade when the next session opens, no problem. You can trade overnight. Somebody, Justin, maybe correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that's my understanding of all the prop rules of that. You can trade day or night, but you just can't hold a trade through New York close because they need to basically settle the score and know what's what with the accounts. Great question. Yeah. Okay. So say you're on a winning streak. You've won the last 8 days out of 8 days and you're feeling really great. You're close to a payout. Everything's progressing as planned. And you have a red day. Red days happen, right? We know that trading is probabilities. It's not logical to assume that you're going to win every day all the time. And so it's a test, though. This is going to be a test of your stamina and your process adherence and your rule following, because it's going to poke at your ego a little bit, right? We talked about ego and confidence. You feel good. You're on a winning streak, and anyone who on here who knows what a winning streak is, more than even just 3 trading days in a row that are green. A loss is whoa, nope, I'm a green trader. I don't know what this BS is on my P&L today, but that's not happening. It pokes at your ego. It tests your patience. It whispers you end the day green. You probably should just trade just a little bit more and get back there, right? You got this. I know you've already taken your 3 trades a day that are within your system, and it's outside your trading hours because it's New York lunch and it doesn't usually give great trading per your strategy at this time, but just fix it really quick, right? This is a tricky moment that I want you to be cognizant of as on a winning streak, because a winning streak can still be a killer period for you as a trader, and you can have a little red day in there where you honor your daily loss limit. Okay. So this one is hard. This one is hard for me. I know a lot of traders that this one is hard for, because so accepting a small loss without letting it become a big one. Raise your hand if this has been an issue for you, because you can't see because my camera's on the recording side, but it's been an issue for me. I've had this situation where I don't want my winning streak to end. And if I've taken a small loss, I'm just not in sync with the market. I didn't see it well. Maybe I just was not on point with my psychology in the morning, whatever. Even if I am on point with my psychology and the trade just happened to lose because that wasn't the trade, then that needs to be able to be a part of a still a very, very successful trading experience. Because it doesn't need to be considered as like erasing a winning streak. More so, it can just be a little blip inside of a winning streak. Think about a bullish trend. There's almost always pullbacks, right? That can be your trend, your trajectory, your equity curve as a trader, where you do have little pullbacks and it's still a positive momentum equity curve. What ends a losing streak is not that one little reasonable losing day, but chaos and tilt and crazy town trading afterwards, trying to fix it right now and then trying to get in for bigger size because you want to fix it faster. That loss aversion experience during the hot streak is so powerful because you are averse to losing. You don't want to give back the money that you have been building for days and weeks because that it feels way better to be on a winning streak. And so a loss sounds like a terrible idea. I have definitely experienced that. Your brain wants to protect your streak. It wants to protect the narrative. It wants to protect your energy. It wants to protect the good feelings that we all experience when we're making money and we're feeling nice and smooth with the market. And so I want everyone to think, like, recognize that there's going to be an emotional impulse of that, and to not act on it, to not feed into the, revenge, fix it now, like get aggressive with the market so that you don't have to have even that day on your winning streak. That is a dangerous choice. So I think the healthy response, right, when that happens, is to accept the loss, review the trade, let it be a lesson, just be like, okay, so I've been trading really well lately. What's up with today? What happened? What did I miss? What did I not miss? And it just happened because of the variance of being a trader. What could I have learned? Is market shifting a little bit? Was there just one random tweet and I just have to let it go? That is a healthy approach to being a successful long-term business-oriented trader. Destructive response would be the adding too much size, revenge trading, overriding your stops, blowing your daily loss limit, pulling your daily loss limit, and just like so that you can have the energy and the time and the flexibility to fix it. And so there's two different ways to go about dealing with the situation, right? This golden rule here, so a small red day is just data. It could be telling you that the conditions have shifted or something is going on or there was a random news outlet that hit the tape. I think respecting it as just a day, as a situation, as information, as feedback, and then letting it lie as a small trade, you're not going to remember it tomorrow. Let's say you are having a streak where you earn 300, 700, 200, 400. And so maybe your account is up $4,000 and your daily loss limit is 500 and you hit 500 down. If you can just shut it down and let that small loss lie, when you come back tomorrow and your account is still up 3,500 and you are fresh and you rested and you took the lesson and you accepted it and you moved on and you did something positive with your evening, you're going to still be fresh. Like that is something that's totally recoverable, forgettable, moving on, like take the lesson and let it lie. And so, doing that and keeping it in its position, in its place where it should be, you will survive small loss always. What is not survivable is the revenge trading spiral, at least for that account. I mean, like that, when you do a spiral, that's what causes the damage that has to carry over. That's what like breaks your little heart and makes you, feel all kinds of unhealthy coping mechanisms urging at you. And you lose sleep and you don't want to tell your spouse and you're snippy snappy with your people because it sucks and it hurts. And so that is where you can keep it contained and stay steady, or you can let it become some kind of thing that it should not become if you can. Okay. So that's this knowing when to walk away. Having a predefined daily stop limit is not weakness. It is elite risk management. Okay. I believe this. People who know me know that I have done all kind of things where I have traded without a daily loss limit and I have traded with a daily loss limit. And one keeps me more steady, keeps me in the game, keeps the reset fees away longer. And one, puts me in a dangerous situation where there is so much potential to tilt if you don't have that protection in place. That way you are not leaving it wide open. And so I would argue that the best traders in the world do have those hard stops. If you consume any kind of content out there about people who work for like the big business prop funding companies, they have risk managers on the floor that say, bro, like that was 3 losing trades. You're now at your daily loss. Take a walk and come back and do some sim trading or some setting or something. Today's not really your day. You're still killing it. Like, let's just call it, you know what I mean? And so as retail traders in our homes, no one is doing that for us. There's no one standing over us that's watching every fill and saying you have triggered too much, like go for a walk. You have to do that for ourselves And I think it's worth the energy and the intention because we want our accounts to still build, right? And by keeping the losses contained, those winning streaks can pop right back into gear. If today was a one-off or what have you, where you just had that losing day, you can take the lesson and come back and kill it and not have that big tilt impact to your accounts. So the way that you can do this, a couple different things here to worth mentioning. And the one is that daily loss limit. A lot of the companies, especially the prop funding companies, BluSky included, of course, there is the ability within our platforms to set that max loss threshold before your session starts. And so to say, no matter what happens today, I won't let my account lose more than $500. And if it does, it triggers me, it locks me out. That is the hard stop where it says, this was the strategy you had. This is what you decided based on your account size and the way that your system is structured, that when you have hit this loss, you just have to try again tomorrow and let it go. And so when it's hit, there's no debate, there's no exception, there's no changing it. And I love that that is a hard stop within the platforms. If any of you have a platform that you're trading secondarily outside of BluSky that doesn't, bear in mind that it's really protective. And there are some external like hotkeys you can program on your computer too of getting those in your system if you don't have them. But BluSky has those on our trading platforms, and I would encourage that to just be a backup. That way you don't have to have the full on tilts. And then day off signals. So this is something that is flexible and everyone can be different with that. But if you are not feeling in flow with the market and you're not having your trade strategy is not working, you were on a winning streak and now you're having a couple days where it's not working out and you hit your max loss, you can consider taking a little bit of time. Something if you're normally trading really well, so maybe something's going on the back end or in your home or in your psychology, and you're just getting more and more frustrated. That is a cue to take a little bit more of a break. Now, it doesn't have to be, you just can never be a trader because you just suck and you can't see the market. No, it can be more so like I'm not in sync with the market. And my strategy usually was working. All last week it worked. I'm not feeling it. I can't make it work this week. You can have a system where if you have 2 red days in a row, maybe you take the 3rd day off and you just lean into an activity that really like soothes your soul, like a walk or a hike or a lunch out with a friend, and you don't trade at your normal session and you let your nervous system relax, settle back in, calm down, because you want to be able to make sure you're showing up as your most focused, attentive, strategic trader. And if you are in a frustrated state, this can be a strong part of keeping your momentum up and letting this just be a little pullback because you take a little break to settle yourself down. And then the conscious exit is kind of like the choice to honor your daily loss limit, but it's basically like an active decision to stop and to frame it that this is just not working out and I would rather protect my capital, and I can tell that I'm frustrated and I don't want to be a person who's frustrated all the time or have carryover into whatever I want to do today. And so I am proud of myself for letting this day lie and letting it be, small green or a decent red or whatever. Just recognizing that there should be a point where you can walk away and shut it down. And that's a really strong choice for getting back in the game on your winning streak. So we talked a lot about how to hold and how to deal with the little threats that we could experience when we're on a winning streak. But also we want to talk about sustaining the momentum, right? When you are just winning, let's keep doing that, right? You got 5 Olympic medals, go for 10, keep at it, right? So these are some things that we talked about earlier about leaning into them when they're working for you. Well, I just kind of want to revisit that as we get closer to the end of today and say that these things are really strong parts of your system that you want to make sure that you're always honoring and doing. So the daily journaling, and that is the beginning and after of your trading day. What setups are you taking and why? And are you staying level? Are you doing things that keep you steady psychologically and emotionally, nervous system wise? Your deep breathing. Are you honoring your entry and exit criteria, pattern recognition? Because all of those things will build. And so journaling on those, the things you did well and the things you sort of relax on and you want to redial in, those will help you stay super aware on, like we said earlier, what did you do to get to this winning streak? Keep doing that. And by noting it down, it's reinforcing in your mind. You're putting knowledge on it to keep it in your forefront. Oh, you made it, Ace. Oh, dad mode. Yes. Well, thank you for coming. This is in your honor, Ace, because we're talking all about how to keep that winning streak going. So cheers to you for your winning streak. And also, you're going to have to rewatch this because there's, we're coming to the end, but you're just in time. So also, the pre-market routine, right? Whatever you were doing that got you your most successful period, do that. Remember it, acknowledge it, let yourself, be very paying attention to to what you are doing that keeps you steady, because your nervous system is a huge factor in terms of how you are steady enough to be logical and intentional and smart and organized with honoring your entry and exit criteria based on your strategy. And so come to your desk calm and ready. Do breath work or visualization or a little bit of stretching or short walk to get yourself ready, your blood pumping, your mind on the project at hand, your business intentions as a trader. Do what centers you and do it every day. And then session planning too, right? This is when you set up for your trade session. Take it seriously and then show up and recognize that good feeling I mentioned earlier, right? When you know that you are at your desk early or on time, you have set up your levels, you're thinking critically about how and what a session would look like, where my levels are. Am I long bias? If so, why? Is it because all of the time frames are bullish? Well, then I want to figure out how I can get into a long position today, or what it would look like for that to fail, and I would need to refocus. So when you prepare, it removes the in the moment second guessing, the gray area, the ability to slide our rules. Because if you come in hot and you're not paying attention and you did some levels last night, but you didn't update them in the morning and you're just trying to go with your positive momentum, that's when you can get into the sloppy trading. And that's when you can start letting one or two rules slide. And you are at so much greater risk of tilting when you are letting these rules slide. And so having that preparation and your steady approach to your trading system is how you maintain a strong momentum, because then you will trade as your most focused self. And if you're in a winning streak and it's beyond just the dumb luck of following some guy, but it's because you have experience and a strong strategy, doing all these steps that keep you in alignment with that is going to continue. That's your best setup to continue the outcomes that you're getting. And then also on the back end of that, the journaling as well as other recovery rituals, whatever is the most settling for you, whether it's the people in your life or an activity, a walk or an activity outside, good sleep, having some activity. Downtime is a performance tool. It's a strategy. It's something to keep you level and steady. Hey. So you want to make sure that you are doing whatever you need to do in order to let like I've talked about this in a lot of psychology labs, of letting your nervous system kind of come back down to base level. That way you have the strength and stamina and focus in order to be able to get back in the game day after day. You're not just living in this constant fight or flight, like struggling with the market, fighting, praying that you get a win day after day. Instead, you want to really just dial it in and let your body reset. These are all really important factors in order to maintaining a successful business approach to being a trader and setting yourself up to continue your winning streak. Now, with the confidence we talked about, like riding the balance of finding your sweet spot of being confident enough to be a day trader, but not overconfident, this is where you can really compound it. And I would say that your confidence shouldn't be reinforced by your P&L. It should be reinforced based on your process being solid. Yes, Ace. Okay, so Ace is my inspiration for this episode because he's really been very solid. And so when there's no clear read or any extreme zones, I think that it's so strong to not trade when you have maybe trades and no great trades, because then you don't have to dig yourself out of a hole by forcing something that isn't ideal. And so when you really just honor your process and you lock into a sound strategy that has been getting you consistent results, that's such a big deal. And your confidence can be rooted in the process. And if you're rooted in your process, then a single bad day won't shake you. You can have a red day and be like, that is the variance of my system that not every trade hits. And overall, it does work. And so part of my process is to understand what happened today, take the lesson from it, journal it, and then let it go. And so that is how you can get into this elite trader status, because this is just business as usual. If it was a small red day, it's a part of the strategy. It's a part of the risk that we have to put on in order to reward. And I'm going to honor my process, which means understanding why this trade didn't work out, understanding why my good trades did work out, the lessons from both of those, and then coming in the most steady and sound and solid we can every session based on our process, keeping us chill. Yeah, understanding when your edge is present. Exactly. Like you only execute on your system when it is present and when you are steady and when you are at your level and rested. So powerful to stay in this cycle of like, my process is working, so I'm doing my process. And that is it. Like that is the cycle that we want to be in. We do not want to do the tilt cycle, right? So stick with this one. I promise you, it's better. Now the purple box down here, this part I love, and we're almost out of time today, but I want you to like hear this part, because traders who can articulate exactly why they are winning are far more resilient during drawdowns than those who simply feel on a hot streak. So if you are trading, if you have a strong system, if you have a strong process, constantly be thinking critically about it. Like, why am I winning? What works for me? What doesn't work for me? What should I avoid? What should I lean into? Why did that trade win and that one didn't win? And so then if you can even like have a close trading friend or a small community where you say, I saw XYZ, I did this, it worked, it didn't work, that will help you understand your system even better. And so then you can further capitalize on it more quickly. You can leverage on it better because you'll understand your A+ setups better by talking it out and being able to articulate your edge. And so think about the work you're doing on your journaling and you're being purposeful and having a written trade strategy. The more you can repeat it, articulate it, understand the ins and outs and all sides of it, the easier it will be to follow it without a lot of overthinking or monkeying around with the ways that we can, get into trouble. So there you have it. I think your streak, once you've gotten past, following whoever, what have you in the beginning, once you've been getting some experience and learning how to be a trader, then it's not luck. It's hard work and it's a system and process and dedication. And so you want to protect it as if it's all been building and that you are a professional and that what you have built is worth honoring. And so you don't want to have the little rule breaks that open the door to that tilt spiral. Instead, you want to lock into the process that I need to see XYZ. And when I do, I honor it this way. And if I have a red day, I purposefully shut it off and move on so that I am taking care of my person and my heart and my soul, Aww. Thank you. I'm so glad you made it, Ace. Like, young parenting babies is a whole situation because I have been there as a trader. My baby, I call him my baby, but he turned 4 yesterday, my Jacob. And so he was my trader baby. So I've been trader 5 years. I got pregnant a couple months into learning the stock market. And so I definitely have traded sleep deprived with a small one in the house. And it's an experience. So if that's your situation, be careful on that end because it's, it's difficult to trade sleep deprived because your literal neurons don't fire as fast. And so, good job. I'm so happy for all of us. And anyone, 5 weeks. He's so tiny. I know babies love swaddling. We always called ours burritos too because you swaddle them up so tight and then they're little burritos. Does anyone have any questions about today? It was such a great topic. I'm really happy that we kind of danced around this last week, Ace, about, when you're on a winning streak, how does it feel? What are the ins and outs of that? How can we lean into it and do our best selves with that? I appreciate that. And I would encourage you to not change what's working. Double down on the habits and rules that brought you here. That confidence is healthy and ego is dangerous. So know the difference and trade your process. And one bad day is data, not a disaster. And elite traders know when to stop. So you want to really lock into your system, feed that positive flywheel, honor yourself with what you have built because it's worth celebrating and is worth doing more of. That's the moral of the story. Oh, thank you guys. Really appreciate it. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on Tuesdays. I really, honestly, completely, truthfully, enjoy these sessions on my end too, because pulling my thoughts together with this and thinking about what I want to say, how I want to structure it, makes me a better trader because it reminds me of who I want to be when I show up to be trader too. And so I'm far from perfect. I truly believe in everything that I chat with you guys about. On a way, congratulations to everyone on a winning streak and to everyone who is, not in a giant winning streak and still dialing things in. Keep at it because it does happen. The experience compounds and then the P&L follows. It's the lagging indicator to the strong process. Thank you everyone for being here, you guys. So Matt and I kind of tag team these aftermarket labs. He's going to be technical on Thursday this week. And so you definitely don't want to miss that. They've been excellent. They're really very helpful. We try and bring a lot of content here for you guys at BluSky. So we stream during the day and we've got some couple labs. We've got Breezy and BluSky in the evenings. And so look us up, check us out, hang out in the Discord. You'll never know when they might drop a little sale or something on you. So I appreciate you all. Today we're out of time, friends. So I wish you all the best. Happy trading and stay safe, guys. Bye.